All right, power ranking time. Obviously, we're going to get to our Masters power rankings in a bit, but with Minwoo Lee winning on Sunday, Patrick, we were talking a little bit about modern nicknames in in professional golf, and we're going to power rank our 5 favorite modern player nicknames. Okay, so this is like players that are playing professional golf right now. How tough was it to find 5 modern nicknames? The nicknames have died.
It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. Yeah, like I texted you guys last night. I'm thinking the mechanic. I'm thinking Big Easy, and you're like, no, modern only. I'm like, who the hell is
Nobody
this
has
pool
nicknames.
that we're pulling from right now?
So I was thinking about it. So like, let's talk about and a couple of these people will have nicknames that I won't mention them. I'm talking about like the most popular people in professional golf right now. Scotty Scheffler, no nickname, right? Can't think of one, doesn't have one, not that I know of. Rory is Roars. That's not a nickname. That's his name. I'm out on that. Justin Thomas is JT. That's also not a nickname. That's just your initials. Xander is X. Also not a nickname. And then you kind of start to go through some of those live players. Like there's one that has a nickname, and that's basically it. And outside of that, there was a website, Patrick, that I looked up a couple of days ago, maybe last night, and it was like the 32 best golf nicknames, all old players, not a single modern golfer on the list. So we're going to try to change that because I did
That's
some
our
digging.
fault.
We gotta
create some nicknames.
Yeah, I know. We got to lean a little bit more into them and see if they can stick. So I'm going to start with number 5. He just won. It's a good nickname. It's caught on. People like it. They have outfits and hats and all that stuff around. I think the Chef's a good nickname. I think it makes sense for professional golf. Now, my one, and I've got a few takes on this because the idea of the Chef is that he cooks. The idea is you cook, right? And Minwoo, there's cooking that happens. As we mentioned, first PGA Tour win on Sunday. Is he the chef? Like, should he be the chef?
No, he absolutely should not be the chef because
I agree.
the chef literally has chef in his name.
Correct.
It's Scotty Scheffler.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
and he cooks wins all the time.
He should be like, his nickname should be like head chef, something like that. Iron chef, top chef, whatever you want to call him. That should be Scotty Scheffler. Shane, I was thinking about Minwoo Lee. He's almost gotten to the point with his nicknames where he's like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones, where he's like Aegon Targaryen, Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, the King in the North, the Undead King, King of the Andals. All this, that's Minwoo Lee right now. And I'm pretty sure, Shane, he kind of gives his nicknames to himself.
Oh,
like he's that guy. I think he is.
Okay. Yeah. One
Which
rule
is
on
a tough
nicknames.
look.
Yeah, it's the only rule about nicknames is you literally can't give it your own nickname to yourself. I was thinking about, I think if you think about him as a chef, I think he's like the PGA Tour chef equivalent to, do you remember Lance Stevenson in NBA? Yes. You know, like Lance about once every 10 games would just have like an unbelievable 15 minutes where he would never miss. And he thought he was the best player on the court, no matter if he was playing against LeBron or Steph or KD or anybody like that. That's kind of the chef sense I get from Minwoo. And I wrote that same thing you wrote down, dude. I was like, how is Scotty Scheffler not the chef? Like it should be that. But we'll workshop something for Scotty Scheffler. Who's your number 5?
My number 5 is an Open champion, and I remember it vividly on the broadcast when he ran away from the field at St. Andrews many moons ago. But Louis Oosthuizen was dubbed Shrek.
Oh,
during that Open championship.
Didn't have him on my list, but that's very good.
Because of the gap tooth and I guess maybe some big ears. Those, other people's words, not mine. But I always have thought of him as Shrek ever since he won the Open.
Not on my list, but I'm very happy you brought that up. Very good nickname. I feel like Louis is the kind of person that leans into that stuff too and doesn't get offended by it. We'll get to a nickname in a bit where it really rubs the player the wrong way. But man, Louis was like the double eagle king, by the way. I remember he makes the double eagle at the Masters. I asked him one time, I used to play this money game when I worked for Fox with Fax and Mulligan Recall. Have you ever played that game before?
I've not.
Yeah, so you get a recall and a mulligan every 9 holes. So you can recall a golf shot. So somebody hits a shot and recall it. We're playing in San Diego. We play all the time when we do those Fox USGA events. And Faxon's like 4 or 5 under. We get to 9, par 3, makes a hole in 1. And we recalled it. And he still wins the hole. He made two. We recall the hole in one. He hits it like 5 feet, makes the two. I see Louis at the President's Cup later that year, and apparently Louis had taught Brad the game. And I tell him a story, and Louis he's like, dude, like a month ago, I made a 3-wood, and it was a blind par 5 second shot. And we get up there, and we're like looking around, find the ball in the hole, and the guys are like, go back and hit it again. He's like, no, we already went through it. He's like, hit it again. But maybe one of the best ball strikers in the last 25 years, Louis. Oh, yeah. My number 4, I think this is an excellent nickname, Bermuda Burns, for Sam Burns. Obviously played extremely well on Bermuda grass. Just feel like that's what I want in a nickname, is I want it to kind of flow. I love that it includes a part of his name. And again, it makes sense for who he is as a golfer. So I really like Bermuda Burns.
Yeah, alliteration always plays, it feels
always
like.
Good in the nickname game.
Yeah, I like that one. My number 4, kind of the same age. Because I had so much trouble finding them, Shane, I threw the Mad Scientist at number 4. Yep. And Bryson, I mean, he kind of has some iterations too. So he could be a multiple entrant on this list. I'm not saying he is, but he has that capability, that upside. But I think the Mad Scientist is a great one for Bryson.
Yeah, he was my number 3. I think it's a great nickname. I feel like you could now lean like, is he the content scientist or, I mean, obviously there's a lot of different ways you can go with Bryson. I'm sure he's been called about as many names as possible on every list throughout his career. But, like, the scientist thing makes sense because Bryson's one of those guys that's not scared of trying everything. I mean, I remember him turning pro and he started face-on putting. Remember? Like, right out of the gate, he started it. I remember when he was winning that U.S. Amateur, he had the dial on his bag for how far back he takes the club with the wedges. I mean, that's the one thing you can't knock Bryson on. You can knock him on plenty of stuff. The dude is not scared to try things. I mean, that's the success of YouTube and social media in general, is like, let me go hit a shot over my house and see how many views I can get. Oh, wow, I'm getting millions of views. Like, this plays. I feel like Bryson's one of those guys, like a lot of people go, oh, man, I've got this great idea. Bryson's one of those guys that's like, I'm going to execute said great idea. So I like that. He was my number 3. Who's your 3?
Okay, my 3 is you and producer Josh may get mad at me for my top 3 here, but I thought the bit was just too good not to do it. So my number 3 is Woozy, Minwoo Lee. Just simple, to the point. I know it's kind of name-based, but I like Woozy. It rolls off the tongue nicely.
For Minwoo, so we're saying multiple nicknames, right? Is that what we're going with?
Well, my list, I had Minwoo as 3, 2, and 1.
Oh, wow. Listen, no rules in the ranking game. No rules in power rankings. You can go with whatever you want. Okay, so we just a little spoiler there, but we know what's coming up for Patrick. My number 2 is the nickname I'd kind of teased a bit ago, the Golden Child for Jordan Spieth. Again, like, what a perfect nickname. Apparently he hates it. He hates when people call him that. I think JT will needle him at time to time with that nickname. I've heard JT say it, on podcasts and stuff throughout the years. But, really from the jump for Jordan, he was the golden child in pro golf, and the Masters success and the win kind of right out of the gate solidified it. So, who better to have that nickname in golf and really in sports? So that was my number 2.
That's a good one. That was on my list before I decided to turn this into a
So you cheated in the game. I got you. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. So I'll go with my number 2. And this was tough, Shane, just because of what transpired there in Houston. I went back and forth on it, and I ended up going Dr. Chipinski at number 2 because coming down the stretch, Minwoo Lee missed the green on 17 and he missed the green on 18. And he did not chip. He putted. And so because of that got downgraded to number 2 instead of number 1.
That was number 1. And you had to, that's, you know what? That's a professional move. And I appreciate you doing that. I feel like that nickname made the most sense last year. Was it the PGA where he chipped in 3 times in one round? Which is like insane stuff to do. He chips in all the time. He chipped in this week. Like, I feel like nobody chips in as much as this guy. Maybe Scotty does, but that's a really good nickname. Like, that should be the nickname, not the chef, not all this stuff.
I totally agree.
That should be the one. All right, number 1. Are you going chef number 1?
Yeah, I went with chef.
Okay, there you go. Minwoo dominating the rankings.
What
If we need more modern nicknames, just lean towards the Australians, and they'll give us that.
What's your number one?
I mean, my number one was like the first one I wrote down.
Okay.
I texted Joel Damon yesterday, and I said, "What's the best nickname in modern pro golf?" And I immediately wrote, "Never mind, I got it. It's the Big Rig, Harry Higgs." Like,
Okay.
what a perfect nickname. Fits him to a T. Like we had him last year on Corn Ferry. Nitties and I would say it pretty much every time we talked about him when we went to him on TV. I just love it. I feel like he's somebody that loves it as well. But the Big Rig is a really, really good nickname for a modern player where, as we've said, not a lot of great modern nicknames in the game.
That is a great one. Is that a Scott Van Pelt special?
Might
feel like
be.
Yeah, it feels like he's really into calling
He
Harry Higgs the
loves
Big Rig.
Harry Higgs. Yeah. That might have been Scott Van Pelt. Shout out SVP.
Do you have any nicknames that you want to throw out there that they hopefully catch on for certain players?
Oh, no, I didn't do a list. I mean, there's a lot I've heard. There's a lot that make me laugh. Do you have any that you'd like to kind of lay out and hope they catch a little bit of steam?
I have a couple, and they're on the nicer end, so
Okay,
I don't
good,
want to be
good,
mean
good.
on here.
Yeah.
TikTok sensation Ben Griffin. I think we should call him the loan shark,
Okay.
just because he was a loan officer in his past life. I think
the
it
loan
plays.
shark's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Into it. I'm signing off on that.
And then I have heard a story about Wyndham Clark with a cheeseburger hamburger kerfuffle at a restaurant that didn't end up great. But I always think of Wyndham, and I think of ham just because of that last three letters of his name. I think we should call him the Hamburglar. He kind of stole that win from Rory at the U.S. Open, and kind of sneaks up there and steals some wins from time to time. So the loan shark for Ben Griffin and the Hamburglar for Wyndham Clark are my two submissions out there.
I mean, both are amazing. Both are exactly what we're looking for in this world. And I would say anybody that has any issues with those needs to reevaluate, because those are both perfect. And I'm really proud of you for those, Patrick. Well done. Well done. Now we got to lean into the more serious power rankings. These aren't changing, by the way. We're just doing them every week. This is Masters Power Rankings. I've shifted a little bit. By the way, this is like the lamest one I've done to this point. Like, mine is so chalky. I'm sure yours is very similar. These are the players that are probably going to win the Masters. But here's our Masters Power Rankings. We've done this the last few weeks. You can start with your number 5.
Okay. I will say this week at Valero, a lot of from that 6 to like 12 range. It seems like a few guys are playing this week. So
let me ask you this. Ludwig, is he in your top 5 right now?
He is not, just outside.
So if he wins this week, does he jump into your top 5?
I think there's a chance, yeah.
Okay. Because that's kind of the only guy for me that I think would shift my rankings going into next week. If he like finished top 3 or something. I mean, he's still obviously got a very good chance of winning next week. But let's hear it.
Yeah, so this is the one change I made. It's a big one, Shane. I moved Xander Schauffele down to number 5. Week off. Didn't like what he was doing there in Jupiter. Just lost in the championship at TGL too. That can't be good.
Gotta be crushing him.
So I dropped him down to 5. What about you?
I got Morikawa at number 5. We've talked a lot about Colin. Obviously, got a great chance. Has played great. You know, he's never missed the cut at Augusta, and 4 top 18 finishes in his 5 starts there, including a 5th and a 3rd. He's probably too low on my list, but I'd like to see him do a little bit more on a Sunday at the Masters. We'll see if he does it this coming week. But Morikawa is my number 5.
Yeah, that's a good pick. And I felt like last year, Xander's major season was so historic with 4 top 10s and 2 wins that people forgot, like, Colin was in the mix a lot. He had 4 top 20s and didn't really have his quote unquote A game. So the switch for me with, I keep on want to say Scheffler, but Schauffele going down to 5 is Rahm rose up to 4.
Made a move.
Saw some fire in that Live Golf documentary teaser out of the Spaniard that I really liked.
You're so influenced, by the way.
He's taken a no one believes in us, why not us attitude, it seems like, going into major championship season. So I think Rahm is going to win at Doral this week and just fire up the hype trains all around, join that Rory and Scotty talk, but I have him at 4 right now.
What if Rahm doesn't win the live event, but wins the Creator Classic Cup or whatever they're calling it? Will that change your rankings at all? Who's he playing with? Who knows?
Oh, that's a good question. That whole thing, I mean,
That's
we need
great, by
we
the
need
way.
like 2 more hours just to talk about it. Like, are there going to be suspensions? What's going on? You got a PGA Tour member in the mix, so that's a good question. It's not in my models right now. I'm
Okay.
gonna add it after the show. I appreciate you because that was clearly over my head.
Yeah, that's Data Golf will be diving deep
Mhm.
into that. I got JT as at 4 for me. I just feel like, again, we're trending in a direction where I think JT is going to put together 4 good rounds. Will it be at Augusta National? We shall see. But the game has been impressive this year. I mean, I wrote a thing earlier in the season, like my hopes and dreams of 2025. And JT having a good season was one of those hopes and dreams because, we talked about Hills with Toasty. JT's
Mhm.
somebody that is loved and I don't want to say hated, but I think he rubs people and fans at times the wrong way just because he's so confident and because the way he
Yes.
plays the game and some of the shots he hits and the club twirls and things like that. I love it. I mean, I think JT is incredible for pro golf. I'd love to see JT get in the hunt. I'm sure the texts with Tiger will continue throughout the week, especially there at the Masters, even if Tiger in there. By the way, did you see Tiger with the April Fool's joke tweet today?
Unreal.
What is going
Unreal.
on with his social media team? Like, is this the girlfriend? Is there like girlfriend influence, like Belichick or something? I mean, you need to tweet more. Like, this is crazy from Tiger.
I was talking to Homa before the players, and I was asking him about the TGL group chat, and he was like, "Yeah, Tiger before the last match, like we're already eliminated from the playoffs, and he's trying to fire us up." And Max was like, "This guy must have so much freaking time on his hands right
And
now."
now even more. I mean, now
Yeah,
it's like injuries. Like, he's like, what about an April Fool's joke? And they're like, you know what? You don't tweet. Like, you don't do that. He's like, I got it. It's fine. I don't even know where we're at. Are we on number 3?
I think we're on 3. Yeah, I'll go ahead. It's Colin Morikawa for me.
Morikawa's 3. Yeah.
Yeah, just good form, good major form, knows how to get in the hunt. But I do agree with you. The Sunday thing isn't great. I'm not buying into the narrative that he can't close quite yet. And I think he gets one this year.
I think he'll get a major as well. I'm not sure it's at Augusta, but I think I'm with you. Wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins 2. Like, I would not be shocked if he did what Xander did last year. I mean, that's the level of play obviously we've seen from him in his career, and especially kind of as you mentioned, maybe not close on Sunday late, but the major wins he's played well in and won. He's closed incredibly well in those final rounds. I'm just going to run through my top 3 because they're probably the
Okay.
same as yours. Well, the top 2 are. I got Rahm at 3. Will depend on what he does with the Creators. Rory at 2. For me, just going to hang there no matter what the elbow situation is. And then I wrote Scotty all caps as 1. This time around, that's really the only change. Probably needed Houston a little bit. I actually, for his Masters chances, I like the not winning, even though obviously we've seen him win a whole bunch before. But I mean, how do you not go in confident if you're Scotty Scheffler right now?
I really don't know. Yeah, it's 2 Rory, 1 Scotty for me. And look, last year's runner up at the Houston Open happened to win the Masters as well. Scotty
Who was that?
Scheffler.
That was Scotty Scheffler. Yeah, there you go.
um,
That was Scotty.
Yeah. And I talked to Trevor yesterday and he's like, just the confidence you get as a champion rolling down Magnolia Lane. It can take you over the edge. I know going back to back is insanely difficult, but it feels like, Shane, if there's someone to do it among this era of golfers, feels like it'd be Scotty Scheffler, does it not?
Yeah, the fact that, you do stuff like what I think about with these players is like, can you do stuff and are you capable of doing things that have never been done before in the game or have been done in rarefied air, right? I mean,
Mhm.
winning back-to-back players, right? Never been done before. And Scotty kind of does it. And it seemed kind of breezing on Sunday with the way he was able to play in that world. I mean, you're in the Olympics and you're expected to win a gold medal and what was he 7 back or 6 back or whatever he was
Yeah.
on Sunday? And it's like, he shoots an incredible round of golf, one of the best rounds of golf really of the entire 2024. And then as you mentioned, like, the greats do stuff that nobody else does. And I mean, you go through the list of players that have won back-to-back Masters, very, very short list. I feel like Scotty's primed and ready to do it. What did he finish 10th in 23 after he won? Is that right? Something like
Yeah,
that?
10th.
Yeah.
Bad putting
So
week.
Yeah, putted terrible. And I mean, as you mentioned, the putter last week has got to give him a ton of confidence, and he knows the golf course as well as anybody. So if you don't have Scotty atop your power ranking list, you might be as dumb as somebody that says Minwoo Lee can't win around Memorial Park. So those are our power rankings for the Masters. They're probably not going to change much headed into next week, but I got good news for you. We'll do them again next week.